If you ignore these 7 morning habits, you might not reach 94. Takes just 30 seconds. Did you know that what you do in the first 60 minutes after waking up could determine whether you'll live to 90 or even beyond? It's shocking, but it's true. Millions of people sabotage their health and longevity every single morning without even realizing it. Before breakfast is over, the path to early decline or vibrant aging has already been paved. But it doesn't have to be that way. Today I'm going to share a story of a man named Henry. Henry isn't famous. He's not a doctor. He's just a 95-year-old man who still drives himself to the grocery store, tends his own garden, and goes bowling every Saturday with friends 30 years younger than him. But what makes Henry different isn't luck. It isn't genetics either. Most of his family members never lived past 75. Henry discovered something at the age of 62 at a health seminar he almost skipped that would completely rewrite the rest of his life. He changed his mornings, and today I'm going to show you exactly what he did and how you can too. Because these aren't complicated medical interventions. They're simple, powerful habits anyone can do starting tomorrow morning. And habit 4. It only takes 30 seconds, yet it might add decades to your life. Are you ready to discover the morning blueprint that changed everything for Henry and could change everything for you too? Let's dive in. Henry still remembers that afternoon, like it was yesterday. It was a humid spring day when he found himself sitting in the back row of a faded community center, arms crossed, skeptical. He had only come because a neighbor insisted something about a free seminar on vitality after 60 at 62. Henry already felt the slow, heavy creep of age. His knees ached more often than not. His mornings started with groans instead of energy. His father had passed away at 67, and his older brother at 70. In Henry's mind, it was only a matter of time. He believed, like so many do, that aging was a steep, irreversible slide and that he was already halfway down the slope. But something the speaker said that day shattered his assumptions. Your mornings are not just the start of your day. They are the architects of your entire future. Henry leaned forward, slightly intrigued despite himself. The speaker continued, "What you do or don't do in the first hour after waking can either accelerate aging or activate the hidden systems inside you that slow it down." Henry's mind raced. Could it really be that simple? Could small changes really alter his fate? That day, he made a decision. Not a grand, sweeping decision, but a quiet, private one. He would try, just for 1 week. He scribbled 7 habits down on a crumpled handout. 7 small things, 7 morning rituals. He had nothing to lose, and maybe, just maybe, decades to gain. What Henry didn't know then, what he couldn't have known, was that this decision, made quietly in a dusty old chair, with bad fluorescent lighting, would add 30 vibrant years to his life. Today, I'm going to walk you through those exact 7 habits, the very ones Henry adopted, and show you how you can start using them tomorrow morning. We'll start with the first, the simplest, yet most overlooked. Because the first thing Henry changed was the very first thing he reached for when he opened his eyes. Are you ready? Let's begin with habit 1. When Henry first heard it, he laughed under his breath. Really, water? That's the big secret. He thought, almost dismissing it. But the speaker's words that day stayed with him. The very first thing you do when you wake up determines how your heart, your brain, and even your kidneys will perform for the next 24 hours and for the next 20 years. You see, after 7, 9 hours of sleep, your body isn't just tired, it's dehydrated. And dehydration thickens. Your blood stresses, your heart strains your kidneys, and accelerates the microscopic damage that piles up day after day. By the time most people reach their coffee cup, their organs have already been under silent attack for hours. Henry decided to test it. That night before going to bed, he placed a tall glass of water, 16 ounces, on his nightstand, and when the morning came, before his feet even touched the ground, he drank it. No coffee first, no juice, just water, room temperature, like the speaker had suggested, so his system wouldn't be shocked awake. At first it seemed almost too simple, but within days, Henry noticed something small yet profound. He felt clearer, lighter. His morning grogginess began to lift faster. His heart didn't pound as heavily, climbing the stairs, and he wasn't alone. Take Mary, a retired librarian who at 74 was facing chronic kidney decline. Her doctors were preparing her for dialysis. Nothing seemed to help until she stumbled across the same advice: immediate morning hydration. She committed to drinking 16 ounces of water before anything else each day. Within just 60 days, her kidney function improved by 28%. Her doctor, stunned by the turnaround, asked what new medication she had started. Mary simply smiled and said, "No medicine, just water, before my feet hit the floor." So, here's your first morning assignment starting tomorrow. Before you scroll your phone, before you brew your coffee, before you do anything else, drink a full glass of water. Place it on your nightstand tonight. Make it as automatic as brushing your teeth. Because right now, your heart, your brain, your kidneys, they're all begging for that first gift of life. Not later. Not after breakfast. And here's something even more powerful to remember. Overnight, dehydration doesn't just make you tired. Studies from Harvard Medical School show it can accelerate the aging process at the cellular level by over 30%. Imagine slowing down the clock with a single, simple act tomorrow morning. Will you be ready to give your body that chance? As Henry likes to say, now laughing as he raises his glass. The real fountain of youth isn't magic. It's water. And with that, let's move to the next small, life-changing ritual Henry adopted. One that doesn't require a gym membership, a supplement, or a prescription. Only a step outside your front door. Let's talk about sunlight. After just a few days of morning hydration, Henry felt a spark, a tiny surge of vitality he hadn't felt in years. But the next habit he added would create an even bigger transformation, one that would ripple through every cell of his body. It was simple, it was free, and yet almost nobody did it intentionally. Morning light exposure. Henry learned that morning sunlight is not just about seeing the day begin. It's about resetting the deepest biological rhythms that control everything from energy to metabolism to memory. You see, inside every human being is a hidden master clock, the circadian rhythm that governs the release of vital hormones. And without strong signals each morning, that clock starts to drift, weakening the systems that keep us young, sharp, and resilient. The speaker at that dusty seminar explained, "Your body isn't just hungry for food when you wake up, it's starving for light." Henry took it seriously. The very next morning, after drinking his water, he shuffled outside onto his tiny porch. The sun was just beginning to rise. A pale gold light spread across the horizon. The air was crisp and cool. Henry sat quietly for 10 minutes. No phone, no newspaper, just light air and stillness. It felt simple, almost too simple. But within 2 weeks, something astonishing happened. Henry's sleep deepened. His energy throughout the day no longer crashed at 2 p.m. His mood, once dull and flat, brightened. And he wasn't the only one to experience it. Thomas, 70-year-old retired engineer, had suffered from insomnia for decades. Pills, meditation apps, expensive mattresses. Nothing had worked until his doctor suggested one small change: 10 minutes of outdoor morning light. Within 30 minutes of waking skeptical but desperate, Thomas tried it. In less than a month, he was falling asleep. Faster, staying asleep longer, and waking up feeling like his old self again. But the real shock: Thomas's blood pressure dropped by 15 points. His afternoon energy crashes vanished. "It wasn't what I took," Thomas said, shaking his head. "It was what I gave my body, the morning light it had been begging for all along." And here's the truth. Even on cloudy days, outdoor light is 50 to 100 times more powerful than any indoor light. Your body doesn't just recognize brightness, it recognizes spectrum, the wavelengths that tune your circadian rhythms like the strings of a violin. And when you miss this signal, you increase your risk of neurodegenerative diseases by up to 37% after age 70. So, here's your simple second habit starting tomorrow. After drinking your morning water, step outside for 5 to 10 minutes. No sunglasses, no windows between you and the sky. Just let the light touch your eyes, your skin, your soul. If you can't go outside, sit by an open window. If the weather's bad, consider a medically rated light therapy lamp. But remember, nothing replaces the real thing. Because your body was designed, from your heart to your hormones, to wake up, not by caffeine, but by sunlight. Henry made it part of his life. It became a sacred few minutes of peace, a reset button, every single morning. And if a man like Henry Sal, 95, sharp, energetic, and alive, can carve out those few minutes each day, maybe you can too. After all, it's not just about waking up to the day. It's about waking up to your life. Now, with your body hydrated and your inner clock reset, you're ready for the next step in Henry's transformation. And this next habit, it could be the difference between walking into your 80s and 90s with ease or with pain. Let's talk about movement, but not the kind you're thinking of. Henry used to believe that mornings were made for sitting. Sit with the newspaper. Sit with a coffee. Sit until the body finally shook off the stiffness of sleep. But the more he learned, the more he realized that stillness, especially first thing in the morning, wasn't harmless. It was dangerous. Because when you stay still, after waking up, your joints already dry and inflamed from hours of immobility begin to degrade faster. Tiny fibers in your cartilage stiffen. Micro tears in your connective tissue begin to build, and the slow, almost invisible march toward chronic pain accelerates. The research was clear. Gentle movement before breakfast, not after, could reduce joint deterioration by up to 65% in older adults. At first, Henry resisted. "I'm too stiff in the mornings," he muttered to himself. But then he remembered. The goal wasn't to run a marathon before sunrise. It was simply to move, to wake the body up before asking it to carry the day. So Henry made a deal with himself. Each morning, right after drinking his water and stepping outside into the light, he would spend just 5 minutes in gentle movement. No fancy routines, no stretching himself into pretzel shapes, just simple motions. Rolling his ankles, swaying his hips, circling his arms, touching his toes, or at least reaching toward them. The results were almost immediate. Henry's morning stiffness melted away faster. His knees, once stiff and aching, began to feel younger. Walking to the mailbox no longer felt like climbing Everest. And he wasn't alone. Eleanor, a spirited grandmother at 68, faced a terrifying reality. Years of arthritis had wrecked her knees, and her doctor had scheduled her for a full knee replacement. But in a last attempt to avoid surgery, Eleanor's physical therapist suggested a radical experiment: 7 minutes of gentle movement every morning before eating. Eleanor was skeptical. What could 7 minutes possibly do? But she tried. At first, the motions were stiff, awkward, bending, rolling, stretching slowly. But week after week, her body began to respond like a long-forgotten instrument, slowly tuning itself back to harmony. Within 3 months, her knee pain reduced so dramatically that her surgeon canceled the operation. "I thought my active life was over," Eleanor said, tears in her eyes. "Now I can chase my grandchildren again." All because she moved when it mattered most before the first bite of breakfast. So tomorrow morning, after hydrating your body and waking your brain with light, here's your next simple gift to yourself: move. It doesn't need to be intense. It doesn't need to hurt. It simply needs to happen. Try this. Circle your wrists and ankles. Roll your shoulders backward and forward. Sway side to side like trees in the breeze. Bend slightly forward, not to strain, but to stretch. 5 minutes. That's all. Because your body isn't asking for perfection. It's asking for motion. A signal that says, "I'm still here, I'm still alive, and I still have so much more living to do." And by honoring that request each morning, you're not just preserving mobility. You're opening the door to decades more of independent, joyful, free movement. Henry swears by it now. If you keep moving, he chuckles, life keeps moving with you. And now that your body is awake, your joints are humming, and your cells are alive with hydration and light. It's time for perhaps the simplest yet most powerful practice Henry discovered. One that takes just 30 seconds, but could ripple through every system in your body like a silent miracle. Let's talk about breathing. Of all the habits Henry adopted, this one surprised him the most. Not because it was difficult, not because it was complicated, But because it was so profoundly simple and yet so powerful, Breathing Henry had never really thought about breathing before. It was just automatic. In out. Something that happened without effort, without notice. But what he learned at that seminar changed his understanding forever. The way you breathe in the first moments of your day, the speaker said, tells your body whether it should prepare for survival or prepare for longevity. And the difference between the two. It's the difference between inflammation and healing, between cellular breakdown and cellular repair, between early decline and vibrant aging. Scientists studying the blue zones places where people routinely live past 100 discovered a common thread. Every morning, the elders took a moment before eating, before working to breathe, not just shallow, distracted breathing, intentional, rhythmic, healing breathing. Henry decided to try. After drinking his water, after stepping outside into the morning light, after moving gently, he would stand quietly close, his eyes, and practice a simple breathing pattern. The 478 method. It went like this. Inhale deeply through the nose for 4 seconds. Hold the breath gently for 7 seconds. Exhale slowly through the mouth for 8 seconds, making a soft, whooshing sound. He would repeat this cycle 3 or 4 times, just 30 seconds in total. At first it felt odd, forced, but something remarkable happened. Henry noticed that his heartbeat slowed. The anxious buzz he used to carry into the day faded. His mind, once clouded with morning worries, became calm, sharp, clear, almost young again. And science backs it up. Dr. Michael Cohen, who has spent decades studying longevity practices in Sardinia's mountain villages, found something extraordinary. Seniors who practiced intentional breathing each morning had lower inflammation levels, lower cortisol, and even younger biological markers compared to their peers. Activating the vagus nerve, the body's relaxation highway, through slow, rhythmic breathing signals the body to shift from stress mode into repair and rejuvenation mode. And here's something powerful. Just 30 seconds of this breathing can lower your blood pressure, reduce silent inflammation, and stabilize your nervous system for the entire day. Luis, a 92-year-old shepherd in Sardinia, summed it up beautifully. I breathe every morning to tell my body, you are safe, you can heal, you can live long. If he skipped it even once, he said he could feel the difference by noon. Less energy, more tension, slower thoughts. So, tomorrow morning, after you hydrate, after you step into the light, after you gently move your body, take 30 seconds to breathe. Deep, deliberate, life-giving breaths. Not because you have to, but because you can. Because every cell in your body is listening. And with every intentional breath, you send the same message. Henry sends each day. I'm choosing life. I'm choosing vitality. I'm choosing to thrive. And once your body has received this message, it's ready for the next essential step. Fuel. Not just any fuel, but the kind of breakfast that either accelerates aging or reverses it. Henry learned this lesson the hard way, and what he changed next made all the difference. Let's talk about what's on your plate tomorrow morning. For most of his life, Henry's breakfasts had looked the same. toast with butter, a steaming cup of coffee, maybe a little jam if he was feeling fancy. It was what he grew up with, what everyone around him ate. It felt normal, harmless, but as Henry leaned deeper into the wisdom he was uncovering, he learned a truth few people ever realize. Your first meal of the day isn't just about satisfying hunger. It sets the biochemical stage for everything that follows. Every heartbeat, every brainwave, every repair your body tries to make. If you choose poorly, you silently accelerate aging. If you choose wisely, you activate pathways that rebuild, restore, and renew your cells. And the biggest mistake, skipping protein and fiber. The research was shocking. Nutritional gerontologists had found that seniors who consumed at least 25 grams of protein and 8 grams of fiber within an hour of waking had lower inflammatory markers, better insulin sensitivity, stronger muscle retention, and significantly slower rates of cognitive decline. Meanwhile, those sticking to carb-heavy, low-protein breakfasts, toast pastries, sugary cereals saw aging accelerate invisibly beneath the surface. Henry knew he had to change. So he did. He swapped his toast and jam for a new morning ritual. A plate of scrambled eggs with spinach and tomatoes, a handful of berries on the side, a small serving of Greek yogurt topped with chia seeds, and a drizzle of olive oil for healthy fats. It didn't feel like a sacrifice. It felt like a gift. The results. Within months, Henry's blood sugar stabilized. His mid-morning energy crashes disappeared. And best of all, his doctor, amazed at his blood work, reduced the medications Henry had been relying on for years. And Henry wasn't an isolated case. George, a 71-year-old accountant, faced a grim diagnosis: prediabetes, rising inflammatory markers, and a warning that he was on track for full-blown diabetes within 2 years. Rather than surrender to medication immediately, George worked with a nutritionist. His only change, transforming breakfast. He swapped refined carbs for a protein and fiber-rich meal. 6 months later, George's blood markers returned to normal. No medications needed, just a new first meal. "I used to think breakfast didn't matter," George admitted. "Now I know it decides the whole day, maybe the whole future." So here's your action plan for tomorrow morning. Build a breakfast like Henry's, like George's. Choose a protein anchor. Eggs, Greek yogurt, plant-based protein if you prefer. Add fiber-rich foods, berries, chia seeds, oats, or even sautéed vegetables. Include a healthy fat, avocado nuts, a drizzle of olive oil. Avoid refined carbohydrates. No toast muffins, sugary cereals before 10 a.m. Because refined carbs spike insulin, inflame your body, and accelerate the aging you're trying to slow. The beauty of this habit: you don't need more time. You don't need a complicated recipe. You just need different ingredients. And over days, weeks, months, this small shift compounds into something breathtaking. Lower inflammation, stronger muscles, sharper mind, longer, more vibrant life. Henry likes to say it simply: every breakfast is a vote for life or a vote for decline. I know which one I'm casting. And tomorrow morning, you can too. Now that your body is fueled correctly, hydrated, moved, energized, nourished, it's time to nurture something just as critical: the human heart. and the next habit Henry adopted. It's not found in a pill, a workout, or a health food store. It's found in one simple, powerful thing: connection. Let's talk about it. Henry had always considered himself a bit of a loner, friendly enough, polite to neighbors, but not someone who made a point of reaching out first thing in the morning. That changed when he learned a startling truth. Isolation is as dangerous to your body as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And it's not just about being alone. It's about when you connect. Studies from the Harvard Longevity Project, one of the longest-running studies in history, found that morning social interactions triggered biological changes that rippled through the entire day. Lower stress hormones, healthier cardiovascular patterns, stronger immune responses, longer lifespan. Morning connection wasn't just nice, it was necessary. Henry decided to test it. At first, it was awkward. He didn't have a spouse at home anymore. His children lived states away. He wasn't sure who to call, who to greet, but he started small. Each morning after his breakfast, Henry would pick up the phone and call an old friend, even just for 2 or 3 minutes. Sometimes they laughed. Sometimes they just exchanged a few updates about the weather. But it didn't matter. The connection itself changed him. He felt lighter, happier, more energized to tackle the day. He noticed it especially on the mornings he skipped the call, the heaviness that lingered, the way everything seemed a little more difficult. And Henry wasn't the only one. Nora, a 96-year-old from Okinawa, one of the world's true blue zones, revealed her secret. Every morning before breakfast, she walked to the tiny park near her home. There, a group of elderly neighbors gathered not for exercise or ceremony, but simply to greet one another. 5 minutes. A handful of hellos, a few gentle jokes, a round of shared smiles. "If I don't see someone's face in the morning," Nora said, "it feels like my body forgets how to live that day." When researchers measured Nora's inflammatory markers and biological age, they found something astonishing. Her body's internal systems were functioning decades younger than her chronological age, because while diet and exercise mattered, it was connection, real face-to-face, human warmth that protected her from the silent killers of isolation and stress. So tomorrow morning, after you hydrate, light up your cells with sunlight, move gently, breathe deeply, and nourish your body. Connect. It doesn't have to be complicated. A quick call to a friend or family member, a warm hello to a neighbor, a friendly exchange with a barista or cashier, even a short moment of human connection sends a powerful signal to your nervous system. You are safe. You are supported. You belong. And in that signal, your body finds its reason to heal, to thrive, to live longer. Henry says it best: "When I stopped starting my days alone, I stopped feeling old." Tomorrow morning, who will you reach out to? Because the truth is, your body and your spirit cannot thrive without love. And with connection flowing through your veins, there's only one final ritual Henry added to complete the transformation: a ritual of the heart. A practice so simple yet so powerful, it can literally reshape the aging brain. Let's talk about it. Henry didn't consider himself an emotional man. He was practical, rational. Gratitude in his mind was something polite you said at Thanksgiving, not something you practiced every morning. But that changed when he stumbled upon one final discovery: a simple habit, just 2 minutes a day, that had the power to reshape the aging brain, reduce inflammation, stabilize blood pressure, and unlock reserves of energy he didn't even know he had. It wasn't vague, positive thinking. It wasn't idle wishing. It was something deeper, directed gratitude. Researchers at Yale University had found that seniors who practiced specific, intentional gratitude each morning, especially focused on their bodies, showed physical changes in brain scans, increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the center for decision-making and emotional regulation, lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone that silently damages the heart and immune system, improved heart rate variability, a powerful marker of cardiovascular resilience. And the most stunning part, timing mattered. Gratitude practiced within the first hour of waking was exponentially more powerful than gratitude practiced later. So Henry tried it. Each morning after hydrating, basking in the light, moving, breathing, fueling his body, and connecting with someone he cared about. He would pause. He would place his hand gently over his heart, and he would name 3 specific things about his body that he was grateful for and why. It might sound like this: I'm grateful for my hands that still let me hold the people I love. I'm grateful for my lungs that let me breathe the fresh morning air. I'm grateful for my legs that still carry me on long walks through the park. It was awkward, at first silly, even. But over time, something extraordinary happened. Henry's perspective began to shift. He no longer woke up searching for what hurt, what was wrong, what was missing. He woke up searching for what was right, what was still working, what was still beautiful. And his body responded. His blood pressure stabilized. His sleep improved even more. His energy, already strong, grew steadier and deeper. And he wasn't the only one. Frank, a 77-year-old former carpenter, struggling with hypertension and depression, made the same change. After practicing directed gratitude every morning for 3 months, Frank's blood pressure dropped by 15 points. His cardiologist was stunned. "What medication did you start?" the doctor asked. Frank smiled. "No new pills, doc," he said. "Just new thoughts. So here's your invitation. Tomorrow morning, after all the other beautiful habits you've begun, take 2 minutes. Place your hand over your heart. Thank your body specifically, intentionally, lovingly, not for what it's lost, not for what's changed, but for what it still gives you every single day. Because the simple truth is, your body hears everything your mind says, and when you speak to it with gratitude, it responds with strength, with healing, with life. Henry believes this is the real secret of longevity, not just moving the body, but moving the heart. If you can wake up grateful, he says, you'll wake up alive, not just surviving, thriving. And now, with all 7 habits woven into your morning, there's only one final step to complete this journey. The decision that ties it all together and determines whether these habits remain ideas or become the foundation of your next 30 years. Let's bring it home. Henry never imagined sitting in that dusty seminar hall at 62, that a handful of small changes could rewrite his future. He never thought a glass of water, a few minutes of light, gentle stretches, deep breaths, a better breakfast, a short phone call, or a quiet moment of gratitude could build a bridge between where he was tired, stiff, uncertain, and where he is now, 95 years old. Sharp, strong, and free. But it wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It was choice. Small choices, repeated each morning, stacked one upon another, until they built a life most people only dream about. Today, you know the same 7 habits that transformed Henry's life. You know that hydration isn't just about thirst. It's about protecting your heart and brain. Morning light isn't just for waking up. It's a biological reset for youthfulness. Gentle movement isn't just for flexibility. It's a gift to your joints and future independence. Deep breathing isn't just calming. It's cellular longevity in action. A breakfast rich in protein and fiber isn't just food. It's medicine. Morning connection isn't just socializing. It's life-saving. And gratitude isn't just polite. It's the architect of a brain and body that age gracefully. But knowing is not enough. The real transformation happens in the doing. Starting tomorrow morning, not next week, not when life is less busy, not when you feel ready. Tomorrow, because your body, your future self, is waiting. Waiting for the first glass of water. Waiting for the first breath of sunlight. Waiting for that first gentle stretch. Waiting for you to whisper with every breath and every action, I choose life. I choose strength. I choose to keep moving forward. And remember this, you don't have to be perfect. Henry wasn't. Neither was Frank or Eleanor or Nora. Start with one habit if you must. Add another when you're ready. Stack them slowly. Because even one habit, repeated consistently, can shift your health trajectory in ways you can't yet imagine. 30 extra years of clarity, of laughter, of mornings worth waking up for. All beginning with one simple choice. Which habit will you start tomorrow? Henry's life changed with one decision in a dusty hall. Maybe yours changes right here, right now. If you found these insights valuable, please hit the like button to let us know. Subscribe for more life-changing health secrets. Most people over 60 never discover. And most importantly, share this video with someone you care about, because you might just be the reason they add decades to their life too. Now, before you close this page, pause, breathe, place your hand over your heart, and whisper 3 things you're grateful for. Your future self is already smiling back at you.